This interview has been conducted for the Queer Lives Oral History Project. My name is Dr. Sue Morrison and the respondent is Rachel Jardine. This is the 29th of November 2024 and the interview is taking place at the Murray Trust. Thank you very much for agreeing to be interviewed for this project, Rachel.
Thank you for the opportunity to be interviewed.
Right, I'm not going to ask your age, but I would like to ask where you grew up.
I grew up in Paisley.
And do you still live in Paisley?
I do not live in Paisley now. I live in the Southside in Glasgow.
Excellent, thank you. We use pronouns, or we ask people if they want to use pronouns. We just want to be inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any particular pronouns?
I use she, her.
Thank you very much. And can I ask a very personal question? Have you come out as queer?
I mean, I'd say yes. Like, I'm very accepting of myself. Like, I think that's actually the key. Like, the key of like coming out is actually being comfortable with like exactly who you are and like understanding yourself. So yes, but if I think about it in a more like formal sense, I've not come out to everyone in my life, but that doesn't make me feel bad. It also doesn't mean that I'm like pretending to any of these people. Like, I'm just myself, and if I've not said it like outright, like I'm queer, like it doesn't change like my queerness at all. So I think it's like a really interesting like question to think about, because I have been thinking about it a lot more, like, because I am out to a lot of people, but there's still some people that I'm not out to. But it doesn't change like how I think about myself or like the way that I interact with like the world.
Can I ask the people that you've not told, is there a specific reason for that?
I think I just like, sometimes I think that like coming out as this like big like event doesn't feel like me, like doesn't feel like how I would do things. Like, I would rather like in my day-to-day life, like even like if you think about like smaller things, like if you've got like an area of conflict with someone, like I'd rather like bring it up in bits than like get to the end and be like, here's like all this stuff. Like, I'd rather that it was done like gradually, and that's kind of how I like feel with the people that I've not come out to, that it does feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I should be like sitting them down and being like, I'm queer, or telling them like other things, like, but that doesn't feel right for me, and it's like the people that I've not come out to are mostly people that like are very close to me, like things like my mum and dad, like or like my like gran or my granny, or like aunties and uncles, like all the people that are closer to me in age in my life, no, and less of the people that are not close in age to me don't know. Yeah, so I'm just thinking about it. Like, I was texting my cousin the other day, like telling her about like just like updating her my life and telling her like what I've been doing and like who I've been seeing and stuff, and none of that is closed. Like, it's very open and stuff, so it's weird, like as much as I said, like I'm like not hiding who I am at all, like especially the people that know that I'm queer and that I'm out to, but then I still act the same way to the other people that I've not come out to. They just haven't had to sit down like, I'm gay, like talk. So yeah.
Thank you. When did you first have questions about your sexuality?
I was talking about this the other day, because I was thinking about like, can I pinpoint moments, or like when did it happen? And to me, like, I feel like queerness, or like my queerness, like I can't pick a point. Like, I think it's like the questioning like aspect of it, I'd say maybe didn't like properly come like where I was like I've always felt queer, like I always have been, like just even like sorry, I feel like I'm going on a tangent, but like queerness is like the way that I live. It's not like just my sexuality. So like I don't know, I have always been queer. Like the things that I like and the way that I like them, like the people that I'm friends with, like things like that. But I think the actual questioning was probably around like puberty age, like maybe like 11, 12, maybe 13. And then it wasn't until maybe closer to like 2018, 19, where I was becoming more like comfortable with, it wasn't more questioning, it was more like, okay, I need to think about this and like how do I feel, like what do I like what are my preferences, like who do I like, what, like, yeah, just that's like the questioning came more at puberty age, and then kind of solidified, and I kind of understood myself more like as I got later, 2018, 2019 and further.
What age were you then?
So I was born in 2001, so like 17? 18, was like 2018, 19.
Do you think that your sexuality has placed any barriers on your education?
I would say no. I think that in high school, like I was in a long-term relationship with a boy from my school, even though like it looked straight, like it wasn't straight. So like during school, like I didn't have any, like on the outside, nothing seemed like, I didn't seem queer, like just because of the way that I looked and the relationship that I was in. So like the school environment was quite positive for me, like a personal like thing. Like the school environment is a horrible place to be queer, but for me, like I had this weird like safety blanket that meant that I kind of got away with not having to deal with direct bullying about my sexuality, but more like indirect bullying about like other people, like my friends and stuff. Like I'd always have, and like I always will, like stick up for my friends in those like situations, especially when we were in school. Like it was very much like consumed like a lot of conversations, like even just like things like I remember at the start of school, like just even wee comments like that's gay, I wouldn't do that, that's so gay, like all those wee like things, like I'd always be the one to be like, what do you mean it's so gay, like what, like that doesn't, what are you trying to say with that? So for me, I think that I did get like a kind of safety pass in school, and it didn't take away any like barriers to education, and I'd say in university as well, it didn't take anything away. I think it actually made me, like university made me more comfortable to express myself in the way that I wanted to, like physically, like as a person, but also like academically, like because I was like more confident in myself and like had like things that I was interested in. Like university gave me like a space to like talk about like sexual health or like gender or sexuality like in an academic setting. So it was really like that actually is more of a positive like thing for me, like in education in that way.
You mentioned there about being able to kind of dress how you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in a school, I presume you had a uniform?
Yeah, we had a uniform.
Do you think that kind of held you back a bit? This is total off tangent, by the way.
No, that's fine. I think that's like a really interesting question, because I think our school, like we had a uniform, and our uniform was quite bad. Like we had, like our school colours were brown and yellow, which are so bad, like really bad. So I think people kind of played, like they tried to like make sure that that wasn't the main part of their uniform. So like personal expression did fall into your uniform, and I think I did use that, like to make sure that I could still express myself. Like I seen a picture of myself recently from 2019, like sitting in an art class, and I had on like my normal uniform, like I had like loafers on, like loafers on, and like tights, a skirt. I had a shirt on with my tie, and then I had this like green jumper. I had that on, and then I had this like patchwork jacket, and I was like, I seen it because I was like talking about like kind of coming out like in school, or like not secretly coming out, but privately coming out, like kind of like coming out to myself. And I seen this picture, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so queer. Like I seen the photo, and I was like, she was there. Like she's not hide. Like I just like the photo, when I seen it, I was like, that is like I can't, like I've never been like closeted or anything. Like it was just the way that I looked. But I just like, when I seen the photo, I was like, I know what was going through her head, and like I know how she feels. Like, because it's me. Like it's still me.
So when you were able to express yourself in fashion, I'm just kind of following this track a wee bit. What kind of clothes did you feel more comfortable in?
That's a good question. I feel like, because that's making me think of like, what did I feel uncomfortable in? I feel like that kind of lends itself like more like in my brain. But like when I was in school, and like when I started like as I became 18 and I started going to pubs and clubs and like meeting new people, going to uni and stuff like that, I used to wear like very stereotypical clothes, like short skirts, short dresses, like tight dresses, heels, like loads of makeup, like quite a like normal haircut, like just very like kind of blend in with everyone. But also like I do, like when I see pictures of myself, or like think about myself at that time, like I do realise I'm like, that was still me, like, and I didn't change like how I acted fully, like I was still me. But I feel like as like I've felt more comfortable and realised like I don't need to like wear what everyone else is wearing, especially in that like kind of like coming of age like moment, like that like 18-year-old, like that time. That's also like the same time that like I'm able to be like, that's not me, like I can decide what I want to do, and I feel like that has meant that I can like the clothes that I wear are so different than what I wore then, but they're also, I don't know, they're still me, like they're still me in a sense, but I feel like the thing that like right now, like the outfit that I'm wearing right now is like, this is so me, like just like dungarees. It's like the comfiest, like best like expression of myself, like not just like queer, like in like as my like of my queerness, but as just me. Like I just need comfort, like always need comfort. like these are like pajamas, like they feel like pajamas, and I wear them to like formal events, like not formal, but like I don't know, like I was at my friend's like leaving do the other week, and I was like, I'll put this on and I'll put a nice t-shirt on underneath. It's like, just, I think that's like the key to me, is just like the comfort aspect of it, like makes me feel more comfortable with myself to then be able to like be authentic. Yeah.
You mentioned that you had a boyfriend in school. How long were you seeing him for?
So we were together from 14, like the age of 14, to 22, which is a long time, but like a really like lovely time, like a long time, but a good time.
Did you talk to him about your sexuality?
Yeah, it's actually like, as I've come like out of this relationship, so I'm 23 just now, but I'm like, I'll be turning 24 in March. Like coming out of that relationship, I realised like how it shaped, like it has shaped me, especially in like such like I was 14, like that's so young, but it also like to me hasn't like negatively impacted me. Like the way that our relationship was at the time was like very much like it's me and you, and then it's us. It's not like it was never, I don't know, like obviously codependent to a sense because we were together for 8 years, but like it was very much like I'll do me, you do you, and then we'll do each other when we can and when we need to, and like when we want to, like, and that did lend itself a lot into like we were so open with each other, and we're open about our sexuality like to each other, but obviously it comes with the same like timeline that I was saying before. Like puberty was also just the start of that relationship, and then as I get older, like that, like 2018 2019, when I'm 17 18, that's when I was more like, actually I don't know what I'm like, I don't know what I am or who I am. I'm in this relationship with someone who like I loved and love, like I do, like we still have a good relationship now, but it's not like I need to decide what's going on, and I think that also had a lot to do with like the reason that we broke up, but in like the loveliest way. Like I can't speak more highly of like this relationship that I had, that like I was like I could literally spend my whole life with him and like be so happy, but I was like, that's not everything. Like I was like, I still like, I'm like, if I do that, then that means that I don't have any new experiences with any like new people like at all. So I was like, I don't want that. Like I want to be able to like express myself and like date people. Like that was really like, that was it. And like that from his perspective and like our perspective as a couple, like was not something to be ashamed of. Like that was like not brought with any like badness. Like when like I don't know, when we were speaking about it, both of us were like, that's true. Like we know that that's like the limits to like a relationship like together would be like we can't have anything else, or we wouldn't have wanted it in that way. So yeah, I feel like I was very open with him about my sexuality, and also like it came up like yesterday as well with I had a like commission that I did recently about dating, and it was like titled, it was like moments of validation, my moments of validation as a newly single queer woman, and it was just like different parts, like selecting queer on dating apps, or going on first dates, or talking about queerness on dates. Like it was like I illustrated this, like it was like 8 images, and I posted it, and he was one of the first people to see it, and straight away like he shared it on his Instagram, and he was like, this is so lovely, and like tagged me in it and stuff. And then I had to send it to the like girl that I'm seeing just now to be like, I don't know how else to sum up the relationship that I've got with my ex, but I was like, this is it. Like this like insane levels of like acceptance, like to have like someone who like I spent so long with then like support me continually, especially when it seems like it's like kind of thought of quite negatively, like if you'd been in a relationship, like although like we were queer in that relationship, to the outside it looks like I've been in a relationship with a man, and then I like we break up and then I'm with women, like that, the perspective of that to other people is like I don't know, it's quite gossipy, and like people like to be like, oh, you like she's gay now, like it's like, well, like I've always been, but like to have him like, and like for us like that relationship that I've got with him now, like to have him just be like, that's so lovely, and I'm like it's unlike anything that like I couldn't even imagine it. Like I don't know, I think it's funny to think of like how, I don't know, like I just have surrounded myself with such nice people, and it really shows, like, and shows in moments like that where I'm like having to send over like a screenshot of like my ex being like, that's so lovely that you're gay, like it's really like, it's really lovely, and I really like, I mean I feel like I've like I feel like I don't like speak about like this that much, but it's really I don't know, it's really like powerful to me, and like I really like because of those years and how they intersect with like my age, like the way that like that relationship intersects with like my life and where I was at that point and what I was thinking at that point, and like it takes up such a big chunk of like very like pivotal years in my development. Like it just feels like it's been done so well. Like I don't know, it makes me happy to think about just like how I can and have like been able to like be open. I texted my cousin like the other night and I was telling her, I was like she was like, I love that post, like I liked it, it made me laugh. I was like, thank you. And then she sent me a message being like, and I can't believe that like my ex-boyfriend like reposted the stuff. And I was like, do you know what, I was like, I'm not actually that surprised. I was like I feel like that's kind of how the relationship that we've got now. And she said like she was like, you should really treasure that. She was like, people don't have that. Like she wasn't trying to tell me off or like tell me what to think, but she just was like I really understand, and like I continue to tell him and tell like people around me, like I don't know how I've landed with this, like I think it's because how much like love and support was in that relationship that like it has to lend itself further. Like it can't stop, which I think is really nice. It's just like it's not like the same way, like it's not romantic, but it's like I don't know, it's like family. Like I remember having to like explain that to his new girlfriend, which is funny. I had to be like, just so you know, I was like, this is nothing, like I know I'm here right now, but I'm like, I think of him more as like family than I think, like because of how much how much of our lives we've spent together. Like it kind of is that like I don't know, it's weird to say your ex-boyfriend's your family, but
So you came out of the relationship with your boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Were you seeing any girls at that time?
No.
So how did you go about getting on the dating scene?
Yeah, it's quite difficult. So like after that breakup, so that breakup was in like October of last year. Like I needed time, and I knew like that I needed time to like not be in a relationship and not be seeing anyone. Like I just needed to like that was like after 8.5 years, like I was like, I can't jump into something. I don't want to jump into something. I need time. But I kind of like knew that I wanted to date, because that was not the whole reason for the breakup, but like a big part of the breakup was, if I stay with you for the rest of my life, which I easily could have, like I wouldn't be able to experience dating women, and that was like quite difficult. Like that was a difficult decision obviously to make. But like once I'd like took the time and realised like maybe it is the right time, the first things that I did was like open or make dating apps, like or dating profiles. So again, I was talking about this yesterday, about like downloading, like I've downloaded like Hinge and Tinder, and I think that's all actually. Hinge and Tinder, like kind of early in the year, maybe like March April time, and kind of just allowed myself to like it's completely different, like dating. Like I haven't dated since I was I haven't asked to date or like seen someone new since I was 14. Like it's the actual flirting and the intention and everything is so different, like, and I didn't know how to do it, like really, still don't really, but having the dating apps was also like an acceptance of myself, an acceptance of what I wanted, like what I was pursuing, and that was like just feeling more comfortable with myself. Like it wasn't people that I was pursuing. I wasn't also using the people like to like make myself like feel more comfortable, but like enjoying like spending the time with like someone, and then like just realizing like what it meant to me. Like I feel like everything, like they're all special, like interactions, or every interaction is as special as like the other one. Like even just things like getting the dating app and like being able to be like, okay, name, age, like here, like my name's Rachel, I'm 23, I'm queer, I live here, I like this, here's what I look like. It's like, it's quite nice to do it, and it's also nice to like interact with other people that way as well, to be like, here's what you want me to see, and you can tell. But also it's very like dating apps are also the worst thing in the world. Like they're so bad, but they're, yeah, I feel like it just like that's how I got into dating, was just through the dating apps.
What was your first date with a girl like?
These are such fun questions. They're really good. I feel like I'm just I've got like a gossip, but it's so fun. I mean, I was really nervous, like completely, like so nervous. But it just felt like a burst of like just like comfort, and like, I mean, it's, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it wasn't really a burst of comfort like in the first few moments, but like just like being able to do something that I hadn't done before with someone that like I was attracted to and like was able to flirt with, like, and like it be a woman as well was just like, I don't know, so fun, and really like, I don't know, it just felt like very like natural and normal for me. Like it didn't, like, obviously I had nerves, but when like once I started speaking to her, like, and like the night, like as the night went on and like the pubs that we went to and stuff, like it just felt very like, it just kept going, like in a natural way that felt comfortable to me, and not, it didn't feel like I was stepping out of my comfort zone, or do like, obviously I knew that I was doing something new. Like I was kind of, there's like a moment where we're walking like between pubs and I was like holding her hand walking up the street, and I was like this is so weird, like not so weird, but I just was like, I was like, oh my god, like I'm doing this right now, like I'm on a date right now, like those kind of thoughts. But also I was I was really comfortable. Yeah, it was fun, and it was a really good time as well. Like the like timing, like I had like dating apps for a few months, and then I had a first date rather than straight away, or too close to my breakup. Like it felt like the right time. Like it really was the time where I was like, I want to open myself up to, like, open myself up to like to people, like to, like, just to the experiences.
Wee tangent. Is there a gay scene in Glasgow just now?
Do you know what? I really think there is. I've been joking, like, kind of like this year, I keep saying it, about like you're only ever like one or two people away from any other gay person in Glasgow. Like I could easily do that, like 2 people max. So like even if there's not, like, there is a physical gay scene, like there's loads of like queer pubs, like Polo, Corset Club, Katie's Bar, like there's even just like queer nights and stuff. Like I've been going to Queer Theory, like a cabaret show and a club night as well, that's in Nice and Sleazy's, and they do it every month. There's also Pony Boy. I went to like Queer Theory and then Pony Boy in the same night once, like a couple of weeks ago, and Pony Boy is like a club night as well, but most like it's like catered towards trans people, and run by trans people, I'm sure, but yeah, there's so much, like, and even just those wee, like, there's physical spaces, like there is like venues, but then you've just got all these like different ones that just pop up sometimes, and you know the people that go there, and like even if like I've been going to like a life drawn class, I've been to a life drawn class, it's like called Queer Life Drawn, and it's like there's spaces like that, like it just seems like there's always something going on, and even if it's not queer, like that's called queer life drawing, but you could go to another life drawing class and see other Glasgow gays and like they're everywhere. Like you'd walk in and be like, I know them. Or like, where was it, like I'd went to something like an event that wasn't like, it wasn't a gay event, like it was just like, it just was a normal event, and I was like, there was a guy there and I was like, I know him. I was like, he goes out with my friend's ex-boyfriend. Like it's like that, like it doesn't, like it really takes no time at all to be like, the gay community, like the queer community in Glasgow is like so small, and even if it doesn't organise in like physical spaces or like on these like club nights or any other clubs or activities, like we're everywhere, like there's so many.
Do you feel as comfortable going into a for want of a better word, a straight bar, as you do in a queer venue?
I think I have quite similar levels of like anxiety around them. More just like physical spaces, like going into somewhere, like if it was somewhere that I hadn't been before, I'd feel nervous anyway. But I think about it more specifically, like I would know that I'd feel more comfortable going into like a queer like venue than I would going into a straight venue. Like when you said that, I was thinking about like a certain like club or a pub like bar in Glasgow. I can't even remember what it's called because I try and like pretend that it's not there, because I'm like, every time I think about it I'm like, that would be the worst place to walk into, like because it's just very, very straight, and probably it's actually, if I think about it more deeply, like it's going into those places and feeling like you're going to be a target for something to happen, for someone to say something to you, for like it like any hate to be like directed towards you, is why I actually would feel nervous, like under just that layer of like the anxiety of going into a new place or anything. It is that like you don't know how the people who the people that are there are, and I'd like think and feel more comfortable in a queer space, because I'd hope that the people that were there would be accepting of me, like beyond just my sexuality. Like it could be like, I don't know, the things that I'm wearing, or like where I'm from, like my accent, or like just loads of different things. I'd hope that in a queer space it would be very welcoming.
As a queer person, walking down the street, doing your shopping, whatever, do you feel vulnerable?
Not in Glasgow, no, and not around like where I live either. Like walking on the street, like there's so many people, like there's so many queer people around, and then like I know that for a fact. Like to be like a kind of data nerd for a minute, like the census data came out like on gender and sexuality like this year. And it put all the stats. Obviously, they're as accurate as they can be for people who like were happy enough to put their sexuality on the census. But even at that, the numbers are still like 4% of the population, and you can get all the data from like each area. So like, I think Glasgow's like 7%, like or something. Like, I can't remember. I think it's 7.7% percent queer, and I'm like, I don't know, every time, like if I'm leaving the house, like I don't feel like I'm going to be like targeted, really, especially on my own, but I do think that can change depending on who I'm with. Like if I was with a partner, like I would maybe feel more of a target, but not just more because it's more visible. Like it's more visible. Like if I'm holding hands like with her, like walking down the street, like it's more, we are more of a target than I would be just walking on my own.
Have you ever experienced any negativity?
Not really, no. Not personally. I'm thinking about that, like, the person that I, like, went on that first date with, like, after my relationship. We went out once, and she got shouted at by people when we were walking on the street. Like, we were holding hands. Like, it wasn't about, like, us, but it was about her. Like, they just were, like talking about her hair. And, like, we had to turn around and be like, stop talking. And then, like, had to, like, go around the corner, and, like, I was like, are you okay? Like, are you feeling okay? And, like, she was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, but I just was like, where did that come from? Like it just was like, maybe tried to be a compliment by these people that, like, that's, like, mentioned her hair, but then it then turned into, like, just a, like, being quite pushy. And I was like, it was like that, let's go around and, like, get away from them, like, they're, like, pestering you. Like, yeah, like, I feel like that, like, that was hard, because it was like she'd been targeted based just on her appearance, on the way that, like, her hair, and then, like, we were also together, which, if we didn't get away, like, that could have went further, which is really difficult, and like it's a difficult thing to think about, like, whether or not that would have happened, but, like, yeah, I don't think that I have otherwise.
You mentioned there that there's that there's at least one pub that you wouldn't feel comfortable going in. Are there many other venues like that?
Probably, yeah. like I think it's just like it's probably the same for, like, anyone in any other city as well. Like, there's places where you're just like, oh, I would never go in there. Like if I think of, like, old man pubs and stuff like that, there's some old man pubs that I wouldn't go in. But that's just, like, I mean, it's obviously to do with, like, my queerness, but not directly. It might just be, like, I've heard bad things about it. But yeah, I think there is some places like that. I can't even remember what it's called. It's like a cocktail bar. I think it's called, like, Mosquito or something like that, or, like, Moschino, or no, that's the brand. I can't remember what it's called. Like, I can't remember what it's called, but it's just a cocktail bar, and there's loads of, like, those types of cocktail bars. Like, there's October and, like, Princess Square, like, just, like, these, like, fancy, like, floral bars. Like, the people that go there, I don't know how they, like, I think I do, again, I think I've got quite of, like, a privilege in the way that, like, if I go into these spaces, like, I don't, like, I hope that I wouldn't be a target, like, especially as a woman as well. I think that's a huge thing. Cis women, like, it's a huge thing to do it, like, to do with it, that I could be a target, but it's like, what are they going to come to me for? Like, it could be anything. Like, I feel like it would probably be more something about me being a woman than it would me being queer, straight off the bat. But also, it's like, if I was in one of these bars with a partner, that might change. Like, if I'm kissing someone, like, even, like, holding their hand or something like that, could change the the people's perception in that pub, and how they would direct towards me. So yeah, there's definitely, like, places that I wouldn't go, and places I wouldn't feel, like, entirely comfortable. But I do also have, like, a lot of privilege that, like, those places I probably could still go, and it wouldn't really make any difference. But it's preference.
Sorry.
It's okay. Like, it's somewhat preference and somewhat, like, safety.
You left university. Did you have a career path in mind?
So I, like, have done illustration, like, sexual health illustration, throughout my time at university. So I started university in 2019, and then I started illustration, like, early 2020. So when I left uni, I knew like I worked like freelance like alongside uni, which is quite good because it also is in the start of my career. So my work isn't like, I'm still quite early in my career, like I'm still only 4 years in really, but the like workload at that time while I'm building clients and stuff was enough to do besides uni without it like impacting like a work life like or work uni life balance. But yeah, when I left I was like, well, I know I've got like, I'm on this project with Brooke at the moment, and I know like I've got like other clients and I know like opportunities that might be arising in the future, so for me right now like that's where my career is, like in sexual health illustration, but also like I would love, and like it's been my idea of like what I wanted like academically since like high school, like when we were doing like our careers like our careers meetings with the careers like officer, they were like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to do gender studies, like I want to do a master's in gender studies. And they were like, Rachel, like you need to do undergrad first. And I was like okay, well I'll do an undergrad first. So like my dream, and like it does feel like a dream because it has been like, I still think about it and I've not changed my mind fully, that I would like to do gender studies, like a master's in gender studies at some point, because I love like research. Like I've already like mentioned the census, like these are all like my academic interests lie in gender and sexuality. I just find it like fascinating, so fascinating, and it's like it's a building like industry, and it's not, I don't know, it feels quite open, like it doesn't, like I think that there's always room for more and more perspectives.
Have you hit any obstacles because of your sexuality in the workplace?
No, and I think that's because of the area that I work in. Like, sexual health has to be very open. It has to be very, like direct, but direct about what it wants and what it needs. Like sexual health is like everyone deserves the same access. Like, if there's not the same access, like how do we do it? How do we take away from like the problems that having a lack of sex ed is taken? Like all like shame-free, judgment-free, like positive, like it's always like the like core values of my industry mean that it goes like hand in hand with queerness and who you are. Like there's like, my industry is quite like women like focused, like there's a lot of women in sexual health, and there's a lot of queer women in sexual health. So like for me, I actually think that it's maybe not got me more like forwards in any like way, like because it's not like a kind of you're queer so you can do this, like it wasn't like that, but just this like this area, this sexual health and my identity and my queerness like intersect so much, because again it makes me like more confident in my like ability to work and like advocate for like a bigger picture like of sexual health, but also of myself and like my work.
Do you think there is enough sexual health information out there that's accessible specifically for queer people?
No. Like,
can you kind of discuss that for me?
Yeah, yeah, it's really difficult because I feel like that's all, like always what I come back to when I think about like school, is how like one, like sex ed wasn't accessible, it wasn't like given like to our classes like equally, and like yeah, equally is probably the best word to use. Like if you had a different teacher, it might mean you got a different lesson, and because it was so like short and not discussed, it means that it left out a lot of the basics, but it also left out a lot of like that. Well, queer sexual health is the basics. I think that like obviously it becomes really harmful when you don't have like an environment like a school where sex ed can like and should happen. Like then you have that lack of support, like if you're like a young queer person in school and you're not getting like good access to information, it's obviously very very harmful. And I always come back to that to think about like how like my curiosity of learning like was always like encouraged at school, like because that's what the teachers want you to do, but my areas that I was interested in were like sexual health and like relationships and like queerness, like, but that's like as soon as I bring that up then they're like, no, I don't want to hear that, like I don't want to encourage you to do that. So it's really difficult to know that like it should be like education, like on the whole like should be an enjoyable experience, like it should be fun to learn, but when that's also like counteracted by like them bringing in their own like bias and like prejudice, like it makes it so bad, because then you're like it's countering like, well, not counterproductive, but like you can't encourage it and then like stop it or withdraw it, or like withdraw information that is just life. Like I don't know, it's hard because like the barrier is like getting good sex education and then like making sure that the intricacies of it are inclusive of sexuality and gender, disability, everything, like race, like it needs to be all encompassing, like it's kind of one or nothing. Like obviously you can reform it in like different ways, and it has been reformed in different ways, but you do need, like, to me, like sex education has to be inclusive.
Sorry.
That's okay.
How would you like to see sex education in schools changed?
It's interesting because I also don't know what it is fully like in schools. Like I've been out of school since 2019, so what, 5 years? Is that right? 5 years. And even at that, like I wasn't getting sex ed in sixth year. Like it's been 10 years since I started. No, 11 years since I started high school. So it's weird to think about it, like what the context of it is right now already in schools, and also kind of like the government, like their stance on sex education and their power to withdraw or remove it, or like build upon it and change it. Like there's not a complete like curriculum for sex ed in Scotland. There is other ways, like the Thai campaign. They campaigned for inclusive queer education like embedded in the curriculum, and that's been in since 2018, which is really good. But it's not like that might not lend itself in certain ways or certain schools, or I don't know, it's hard to measure. Like they have like, they're really, like the Thai campaign are really great, and they have done like a whole lot for like sex ed and like queer education in Scotland. But also I don't like, I just do wonder like how is it, like how does it, I don't know, how does it happen in schools, like how is it responded, and like does it reflect on like the way that like the kids that are being taught, like how they go about their lives, because it is like, it's when you like then compare that with like stats and like STI rates or pregnancy rates or loads of things, like queer, like, I don't know, like this census and stuff, when you've got like age brackets and stuff, like you wonder how it manifests, like, how positive is it? So, I feel like I didn't answer your question there.
No, that's fine, that's good. When I was growing up, we never heard of transgender, and now it's a massive issue. I don't know when that changed, but did you experience any issues around transgender in relation to your friends and fellow pupils when you were young?
Not in my school, really. There was like a trans man who was like a couple of years above me in school, but transitioned outside of school. Once like he'd left, and then once once he transitioned. But then I don't know if that's a reflection of, like, I'm saying no, but that's not entirely correct, because like that, like, I'm saying that in a way of people who were like out and spoke about it in school, which is not something that any trans person or any queer person has to do. Like, you don't have to be out, and it doesn't have to be like a known thing, because I also think sometimes in schools, like, that's why people don't come out, is because you've got, like, you're surrounded by, like, my high school was like 800 people, which isn't actually, like, it wasn't that big for my town, like for Paisley, so you've got 800 people around you every single day. Why would you, like, people? That's why people don't come out, because they don't want to be a target to 800 people, like, and that's, I think that, like, that has a lot, like, me saying no has a lot to do with that, whereas there is 100%, like, I know there's been trans people from my school, but it's all at a later stage, and also I think that does have a lot to do with, like I said, like, the school environment, but also, like, even my school, like, attitudes and teachers and, like, everything. Yeah.
Thank you. It's just, we're kind of looking at different age levels, of different periods of generations and their experiences, and how they've changed or moved on or gone backwards in some instances. What are your opinions about LGBT plus rights at the moment?
I think I touched a wee bit on this in my other interview, about how, like, when you say that, the first thing that comes into my head is, like, the bad things and not the good things. I think the first thing I said in that interview was like, a good piece of, like, queer rights at the moment, and not even at the moment, the first thing that came into my head was like equal marriage, and, like, that's from 2014, like, Scotland 2014, 10 years ago, which is so, that was so close, like, 2014 was, like, only 10 years ago. But then when I think about the badness, like, that's when, like, it feels more, like, when I think about rights, like as in, like, written down, like, bills and laws and everything, like, some of it protects us, and some of it, like, completely contradicts the things that protect us. Like, I get really, really frustrated, like, thinking about like, this year, about like, under 18s not being able to access, like, trans healthcare, with, like, puberty blockers, and, like, actually I don't even think, like, of puberty blockers, and how that, like, impacts trans kids, and how that impacts trans adults, and how that, like, the impact on trans kids is the impact on trans adults, and it's the impact on your autonomy. Like, it's like, first and foremost, it's about trans people. That's where that's where it lies, and it makes every day it's just another thing directed at trans people. It's just a recycled hatred. It's very much in the media, and the way that AIDS and HIV and AIDS were, and targeted towards queer people and gay men. It just is the same. It's the same misinformation from nothing. You can see it happening. You can compare it and be you're using the same tactic on a new group of people. It's literally I remember doing. I can't remember what it was. I don't know why it's coming to my head right now, but I did this thing in uni about moral panics, and I was trans people are framed as a moral panic, and I'm people they're it makes me so angry, really really angry to there's literally no different. A trans person is no different to anyone else, other than the in these instances, or they're more of a target for hatred. It's just it's horrible. It really really makes me angry, really 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 annoyed, because just thinking of LGBTQ rights is right now it's the withdrawal of rights for trans people. It's hitting away at it. It's I don't know, a tree, and you're shaving it down. That's how it feels. It feels just continue, and then from that that impacts trans people so directly, but then that impacts queer people as well. It's all queerness is that it is this community, and yet everyone needs to be there for everyone, each other. That it just any legislation that hurts or takes away any rights from a trans person is also impacting other queer people, even if they're not trans, if they're cis.
You said something that I found quite interesting there. The LGBT plus queer community, as in singular.
Yeah.
Do you think it is a homogenous group?
I think it's not let me word that better, say that better. To me, I do think I find community in queer people. I think the relationships I have with queer people are deeper in an understanding, and that's not everyone. I just mean my friends, my queer friends, the people that I'm close to, they do feel deeper. But that also is a level of friendship. I do think that if I'm saying what I was saying that about if there's trans legislation that impacts, or legislation that impacts trans people, that impacts the whole community. There is people in the queer community that or LGBT community that don't have this idea that we're all on the same struggle, and it all links. It's all recycled hatred, and everyone's the target of that. I think that there's a lot of different opinions within the community, which can make it hard to say that just because you're LGBT in any way means that you have shared beliefs. If I think of I don't know, queer people who support the Tory party, I'm I have no to me that there's just it's we just even wee things, it's small things that don't align with me. It doesn't you might be queer but we don't have the same views. So to me, yes, there is a community more broadly, but when I think about the ways that I might differ from these people, obviously our queerness is a thing that we still have in common, but that doesn't mean anything else.
Rachel, I'm kind of trying to think, because you're younger.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that there are, or have you ever thought about what will happen when you get older? We're looking at elder care as part of this project. Have you ever thought of? But you're too young to be thinking of this.
Because Rachel asked me this in the interview before, and I thought it was a really like lovely question. Like I was speaking about, and like will speak about, like my granny, and like how like she's 92, and like her like aging, like she's 92, like she's she's so much older than me. She's lived like my life over and over again. Like she's really like shaped the way that I think about aging and like personality and like being yourself. Like my granny is herself. She's so herself. She always has been, like she always will. Like she's so witty, she's so fast, she's so quick. Like she like does words every day. Like I taught her how to do it and she does it every day, and then she posts it on Facebook, and then we all comment on it, on like some of my family, like if they do it or like if I do it, like we'll post our own, so you can see like she's like, oh I got it in 2 this week, like all this stuff. Like when I think of aging, I think of my granny, and when I think of my granny's aging, it just makes me like happy to do that. Like she's just like, and my granny as well, like my granny's from my dad's side, like she's got 7 kids. Like my dad's one of 7. I'm sure that's right. I keep saying 7 and then I sometimes think it's 8 and I'm like, no, I think it's 7. She's the like the matriarch, like the reason that we're all here is because she did it. Like she carried them all, and then they all like were able to have children if they did, and then like carry it on. Like I don't know, like aging to me is so like it's exciting. Like I don't know, I like to know that I've got, like, especially for my granny, like she's 92 and I'm like, she's got so much more life, like, and I'm like, if she's still got more life at 92, like I've got so long, like just to, yeah.
You've probably not thought of this either, but looking specifically at elder care, so residential care, for instance, do you think there are issues there for queer people?
I think that it can have a lot to do with perceptions of like maybe the care systems or people that work in care of elderly, and how like their identities, like I think a lot of the time like identities are quite stripped from people in care, like for different reasons, like they might mentally not be able to like care for themselves, or might have to have someone like making decisions like for them, like children or partners or anything like that. So I think it's quite difficult, like, or not quite difficult, I think that care systems and like people who work in care might have like certain biases and like not even hatred, but just like it's bias, like that's the best word I can use to describe it, about like elderly and autonomy and their identity. Like I don't know, like a queer elderly person is just as queer as anyone. Like I'm not the one to decide that. Like obviously, like that's a fact. I'm not saying that as like my opinion at all. Like that's like a queer person's a queer person. Doesn't matter what age they are. But obviously that can like impact like care if like even assumptions, like it's that like small like even if they're like, oh my partner died when, like if they're in care and they're old and they're like, oh my partner died 10 years ago or something like that, and they're like, oh like what age was he, or like, and they're like, no she was, and then it's just like that having to like build upon and like because of like small like ideas of like who people are is difficult. Like it's difficult for like elder, like queer elder like care.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I think we're running out of time, but is there anything that you would like to add or discuss?
I don't think so. I think I feel like I've spoke. I don't even know what time it is. I feel like I've spoke forever. And I feel like this has felt entirely comfortable. Very I don't know. I felt like before I didn't know what I was going to speak about or how I was going to talk, even though I knew that it would be quite similar to the other interview. It just feels very I don't know. At points I said that I was I feel like I'm having a gossip right now. I'm so we broke up then and then we did this and then this happened and but it's also that a lot ties into my life, personal life, but also like I was saying about my illustrations, my illustrations are also my life. The most recent commission that I did was me being here's my moments of validation as a single queer person. It's so intertwined and sometimes when I'm talking about my life I'm no, that's it encompasses everything and although my queerness isn't the whole my whole part the whole part of me it is a massive part of me and does impact my life and also lets me things like this I found this project through the Southside community group and that's I don't know just being able to find new opportunities to be able to speak about speak about myself and queerness on a whole and in new ways is just I don't know, such a privilege and so lovely. Yeah.
What are your hopes for the future of queerdom?
I love that. I just would be hopeful that everyone could get on with their lives and it not be a massive thing. I think directly a lot of my drive for change right now, or at least it feels our drive for protest, it feels I'm protesting against the government stance on, or the government and the some of the UK population, their stance on trans people. It feels right now I just need to we need to keep fighting and it feels it doesn't feel I don't feel I'm required to do it, no one's telling me to do it, but deep down I just can't do anything about it. I can't take a step back. It would feel completely wrong to take a step back because if you've still got one part of a community to still if you've still got one part of a community still fighting for the rights, that's an insane statement to say, but if you still got some people fighting for their rights and other people have got theirs or have got most of theirs, you've still got to fight, you still have to continue to make change. So I just wish that would stop and that people would just be able to live their lives and get access to acceptance of trans people is so base level. It makes me so angry that the way the state of the country and the way that they direct hatred towards trans people, but really when I'm speaking about that, it's trans healthcare is so required, so such a key, it is a very key part of a lot of trans people's transition. It can be, so I just think that continued fight, it's not what I want for the future of queerdom, but I want us to continue that and then get to a point where people are just able to do what they want and not even what they want, what they actually need to do. People trans people don't want to have to access healthcare, they just want to live their life and just that was a general statement. I should say, explain what I meant by that, but trans people don't they just want to live anyone. You just want to live. You don't want to have complications or have targeted abuse. ever. No one wants that. Like, it's so, that's what I see. Like, I see a fight because it still has to happen, but I want it to get to a place where you're able to just get on with your life and access what you need to access and do what you need to do and be with who you want to be with. And I don't know, like, I hope it's like a positive future. Well, it will be. Like, yeah, I feel like around me as well, like personally, like my future seems like really nice. Like, just the way that, like, who I'm surrounded by and how I can be, like, that's really nice.
Rachel, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you.